Welcome,
Hello.
Peter Reeves, aka Sumatran Black, aka Black Box Memories, aka Camomile Dawn, and is there another pseudonym?
There's one more, which is Ataşehir.
Ataşehir. Ah, that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, it's just that little S with the thing is she.
Shit,
Okay.
Ataşehir.
It just means city, by the way. So,
Ah, okay, okay.
yeah,
So you've been, we've been, we've known each other for over 20 years.
I think so. Yeah, long
Yeah,
time.
definitely. But it wasn't until 2017, I think, that we
Yeah,
both,
yeah, it's 2016, 2017. It must
yeah,
be that we
it
started
must
talking
be. I
on
think it's
Sam.
2017 that when we started to reconnect um, through SoundCloud's algorithm that must have matched, must have realized that we had mutual friends.
I
And then,
think
yeah,
like it's a bit weird now. SoundCloud. It's kind of gone like really downhill.
yeah,
So I don't know if it will do that now. You know, it's
yeah,
it's it's all fake accounts, spam accounts. Like
super spammed.
I've
Yeah,
just libeled,
adverts.
slandered SoundCloud. But
Well,
yeah, it's
no,
really the service isn't as good as it used to be.
is there even adverts now within?
I believe so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's different when I use it in England and I
Hmm.
use it here. In England, there are definitely adverts. So even if you have a premium account, which I do
Really?
actually, I
Even
think
with
if
a
you look at the
premium
thing in
account,
terms
you
of,
still have to put up with adverts.
I think so. I don't know though. So
Yeah.
because I'm really sick of I just don't I used to when I first started doing music again, I
Hmm.
used it all the time
Hmm.
and it was really good. Like I've got like 300 tracks on there or something, just like as an ideas platform.
Yeah.
But it just became like s- so spammy, like
Super spammy.
and the way that they built their sort of interface,
Hmm.
it really doesn't help you push anything apart from themselves kind of thing. So like pushing other stuff, like if you want to push your bandcamp or your Spotify and stuff like that, it doesn't, or other
No,
streaming stuff, it's not
doesn't link
really
up.
ideal. I
No.
use it as just like a file saving place for
Yeah. So
demos.
yeah. Yeah. I
But
just delete stuff from there and just rotate things.
I was thinking before this, because I know we're going to do this. I was thinking, when did we like start talking about music? And do you remember when you DJ'd at Kips
Yeah.
nights?
Yeah.
And I remember very, very distinctively, you were playing The Knife, I think, was one of the
Yeah.
tracks. And then you played Pet Shop Boys.
Yes.
And I was like, man, I really love the Pet Shop Boys. And I think that's how we started talking about music way, way back. I'm not sure what track it was though. Maybe was it Being Boring?
I
Or was that
think
too
so.
obvious?
Or it might be so hard.
So hard.
Because I've got a feeling that that might have worked with dun, dun, um, we share our mother's health. I've got a feeling that might have fitted with that. Fitted? That's not even a word. Might have fit with that. We're supposed to be English teachers. Well,
Well,
you're a lot more
it
professional than
deteriorates after a while, doesn't it? It's
yeah.
interesting because there's a bit of resurgence with them as well, Petch, because you know they've got this series named after one of their tracks.
Oh yeah, I still haven't seen that yet. What's it
I've not
called?
watched. It's a Sin is
It's
the
a sin. Da-na-na. It's supposed to be the queer as folk for the TikTok. I don't want to say that. No,
TikTok generation. I
no,
thought it
it's
was
supposed to
about.
be
I thought
really
it was
good.
an AIDS thing
Yeah.
because he
Um,
kind of avoided it, didn't he? In the first thing he did, he said, and he was like upset that he hadn't addressed that topic. This is what I read. He
yeah.
said he wanted to he felt like a little bit like,
Sorry, who's the writer?
oh, is it Russell? It's not Russell T Davies, is it that
Yeah, yeah, I
guy?
think it is Russell
Okay.
T Davis. Yeah,
He said he was
yeah,
like kind of not ashamed that he hadn't like gone to that, like gone through, tried that topic
Mm.
when he'd had like such a profile.
Yeah, when
Uh,
he had that platform.
yeah.
Yeah, people have been talking a lot about it. Like, oh,
Performing musician, what you're supposed to do if you don't have another job. It's like,
yeah, things like arts and culture, the things that make the UK distinctive aren't being looked after.
absolutely, yeah. It's like
You
it's
know?
one of the really like strongest assets
Mm,
of the country, and it's like, yeah, it's not being taken care of.
mm, yeah. Um, would you like to do something like a film? Would you like to do a live soundtracking thing again when things have gone?
Yeah, 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 definitely. I mean, everyone when they listen to the music, like most people when they listen to my stuff, like my friends who listen to
Mm,
it, they're like, "Oh, why don't you do soundtracks? Why don't you do these things?" And well, I've obviously I'd love to do those things, but the opportunity, maybe I've not pursued it enough.
yeah,
But it's how I like how I perceive my sort of view is this. It's like I'm not a person. If you said to me, "Look, we're doing a gangster film set in the 1930s,
mm,
and we need this music," I'm not that sort of
yeah,
musician. It's
mm,
like I can only do what I do,
yeah,
and so it would have to be a projects that really match those things. I'm not like a versatile jobbing composer. I'm
mm,
not like I'm good at like notation, those kind of things.
mm,
And so one of my plans for this year was to have a portfolio of like more soundtrack video game orientated stuff,
yeah,
uh, without having to write stuff specifically for that. But
yeah.
we'll see. Um, but yeah, I mean the live soundtrack stuff is really really fun.
Yeah,
But and the one that I did before, I think is probably the best thing. Maybe it's the best thing I've done.
the
But it was
one from Salt from
yeah, yeah. So I
Galaxy
did
Salt. Yeah.
maybe people if people watching this, then maybe then the
Um.
film is a page of madness.
Yeah. What
Uh,
I do is I put in the
yeah,
titles, the headers, and then the links to all the works in
and
the.
which is kind of a strange movie because I think originally the way they did it in Japan is that you would have not in the intertitles in a silent film.
Yeah.
They didn't have those. They would have like a narrator present
Uh-huh.
during the film screening, is what I was told when I
Yeah.
did well, when I not I was told when I did my research. And that's why with this particular film, they're like the narrative is very difficult to understand
Mm.
because it doesn't have there's some gaps unless you really know the film very well. But yeah, those things are really, I mean, I'd recommend that to anyone as a good creative outlet, even just to do it as like a fun thing.
Yeah.
And I've seen some really good ones of other people. There's lots of good ones out there. Like the Pet Shop Boys there, I think they have is it Battleship Potemkin?
Yeah. I
They've
was
done,
there. I was there.
oh, you were there. It's
I
because
was
it's a
there.
really
I went to see that um, with Anna Brewer and her
Mhm.
mad housemates, and I think Romy, and it was one of the best things I've ever done. It was in Trafalgar Square,
Wow.
and so the scene with the baby
The
going
pushchair
down the
thing.
steps
Yeah, yeah.
was like like from what I remember, it was kind of like Vangelis kind of
Oh,
techno.
like the end title bit of the
Yeah.
Blade Runner end title.
It was really good. It was amazing. It was great. I'd love to see something like that again.
Yeah, there's a couple that I want to see that you can't get hold of. Like I know we're both really into Lego Val. He did one for the what's it called? What's the German director who does documentaries?
Oh, Werner Herzog.
He did, yeah, for Herzog's
Yeah.
Nosferatu remake.
Yeah, yeah.
There's what he did the soundtrack
Oh,
to that, and I'd
yeah,
love to hear that because it's
yeah,
really like the film's really cool, by the way.
yeah, yeah. It's
It's very
amazing.
watchable.
Yeah. It's a real shame when you think about it that Klaus Kinski, well, yes, it's a shame that he was such a nutter, but also ugh, when you when you read about him, and so it kind of, because he was a nasty guy. He was fiddling with one of his daughters, and
Oh,
that's,
really? Okay, I didn't know that. I know he was just like the reputation of being impossible to work with.
yeah.
Um,
So definitely watch Mein Bester Fiend, the documentary about Herzog and him.
oh,
Um,
their relationship. Okay.
yeah, their relationship. Yeah. So it only came out um, in his daughter's, I think, I can't remember if it was her autobiography, but it only came out a few years ago recently that he was, yeah, basically a piece of shit.
Hmm.
Well, we already knew that, but now definitive proof that he was also a fucking sick, horrible person as well. Um, and yeah, I guess what if you rewatch the documentary or analyze him, then you will see, yeah, another level of evil. And yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, I loved watching Herzog films. I haven't caught up with the new ones. He's done an amazing one about a photographer who it's a fictional, it's not a documentary, but
Hmm.
it's kind of done documentary style about a photographer who helps people build their profile and build these dream lives. So he's basically a professional photographer that takes photos
Hmm.
for people for their Instagram or for their weddings or to project an image of their business. And I've only seen one trailer, but it looks amazing. But
Is it a Korean thing? Is it like,
yeah, I think so. I
well, I
can't
can't, I think
remember
I've seen it.
if
Maybe it's on
he's
like, maybe
from
it's on the Netflix.
Korean. Yeah, it's had some big money put into it, and it's another one that I really wanted to see, which I should have caught up on, was the Cave of Dreams, so about the ancient cave paintings in France. I can't remember where that is, but
Yeah, I've not seen that. I think the most recent one I saw was the one about the balloon guy,
all right,
which is not that new.
right,
I think it's from like the early 2000s about the guy who builds like the balloon machine. It's good. It's just quite light.
yeah,
Um, I've got one of it's one of the only I don't have a DVD player here at the moment, but I've actually got a box set of loads of his old movies. I think
yeah.
I've watched most of those. So
Have you was it Caspar Hauser, and then what's the other one? So Aguirre, I can't pronounce it. Aguirre, Wrath of God. That's probably the most famous one.
is that the one where he's the conquistador?
Yeah, so the
Yeah, that's
conquistadors.
brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah.
left on the raft.
On the raft, yeah, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
on the raft with his
It's even
battalion
better.
of monkeys. So
Yeah, it's even
he's
better
got
than
monkeys
Fitzcarraldo.
after him. Um, and Fitzcarraldo. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing, and there's the documentary is really great too.
Yeah,
It's a really interesting. Maybe can I talk about it? 'Cause it's an idea I've had like for ages. But
yeah,
you know that I've had this idea about like an opera musical based on do you know Fordlandia?
it rings a
So
bell.
there's lots people make lots of parallels with this with the story. Basically, it's um, Johan Johansson made a concept album about it, and it's
Mm,
basically a I'm going to try and summarize this really quickly. Henry Ford, the
right.
Ford Motor Company, they made everything for
Mm.
their cars except the rubber for the tires.
Ah, yeah, yeah,
So they had to they basically created a mini city
yeah,
in Brazil called Fordlandia, and it is
yeah,
very similar because it's a like a heroic failure kind of thing.
yeah.
Um, but it's a really cool story, and it has very lots of similarities with Fitzcarraldo.
Ah, right, yeah, because the rubber. rubber importation, the rubber millions that were
Yeah,
made.
I think the British had a monopoly on the rubber. And basically, by the time this area becomes productive, there's a synthetic has been developed, so it doesn't ever produce any rubber. The place.
Yeah,
It's cool. There's all kinds of like skullduggery, sneakiness, like stealing. The British sneak the seeds out of one place,
right.
put them somewhere else. Like it's yeah, and it's really cool.
Yeah, nice.
There's a book. So a guy. There's a guy who wrote. There's one really good book about it. I can't remember the guy's name, but
Yeah. Um, just thinking about the jungle and being in the jungle and stories about the jungle, but Conrad Heart of Darkness,
mm-hmm.
like Apocalypse Now, there's probably you probably could spin off another film from Conrad's Heart of Darkness and then
Oh, for sure.
yeah, I don't know why no one's thought of or no one's tried.
You
I
put it
don't
in. I
know.
mean, do you put it in space? I don't know. This is sounding well
Yeah,
cheesy. Like with a couple of
space
do it in
opera.
space. It's on Mars. But
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the the film more than the book. You know, I thought
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
a
totally.
fantastic
Yeah.
adaptation, more than an adaptation, really. Like a um, but yeah, it's fantastic.
Um, thinking of, have you ever seen a film called Nil by Mouth?
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Gary
talked about
Oldman
this,
movie.
but do you remember when the two? So
He does the speech right in front of the mirror.
yeah, yeah, when that character does the Dennis Hopper
Dennis
speech.
Hopper bit. Yeah, I remember it
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
yeah, that was really impressed on my mind. I remember. I need that actor. I can't remember his fucking name. He was great.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's in. Is he in Lock? He's not in Lockstock. Is he in the other? Is he in? No, he is in Lockstock,
he's
isn't he?
got a smaller part in Lockstock, yeah. But I wonder what he's up to because he was really good. Like
Rat faced little
Matt's like
like
fucking yeah, the drugs are fucking arriving when he climbs up the
yeah
lamppost. That was really good.
yeah that film I was speaking about that with someone else recently because it's a really horrible movie. Like
Mm,
it's so dark. Like
yeah,
um but it's and I remember very distinctively that the he shoots it like almost all in like medium close up, right? There's
yeah,
no wide shots in
no,
the whole film. It's really claustrophobic.
yeah. Apart, so like the street scenes, like the laundry, when they're in
Okay.
the laundry and they're waiting for the heroin, and you see that as it kind of like that's like an observer view, and the
Hmm.
camera's like fixed on them. But that scene really stays with me as well, like the laundry, because somebody gets knocked out, and it's sort of stuff that you kind of see in London. Like you'll see some little flare up, and it'll be gone in like 10,
Yeah.
20 seconds. Um, it's weird because where I live in the Costa del Sol, there's like there's nothing going on. There's absolutely nothing going on. Occasionally, you'll see people at bars who will be there drinking all day from like I don't know 12 till 8 because you know
Hmm.
everything closes then. But I saw this kiddie walk up to a guy, and I knew instantly he was British because he had the sort of the walk of the
Hmm.
man about to fucking box up.
Okay. Yeah, he's gonna.
I
Yeah.
couldn't hear what he was saying, but all the motion, and then this fight kicked off in this Irish pub. Um, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a little slice of home. Like, forget that I'm in Spain sometimes because I never see that kind of
Yeah. Same here. Like I know.
street
Like
violence.
it's really. Occasionally hear it,
Mm.
but it's so rare. Like when things were open,
Mm.
don't really see like. I mean, like if people from England watch this, like we're from Bournemouth,
Mm.
and like this area, like the strip in Bournemouth, like it's just on a Saturday night, just little like fracas. What's the plural of fracas? There's just all things like happening all the time,
Yeah,
like taxi queues. It's horrible.
it's
Like,
like any sort of market town, isn't it, in the
hmm
UK? Because you've got a lot of small town boys. It's
yeah,
frustrating.
exactly.
And also Bournemouth because it's got glitzy sort of clubs. Um, yeah, there's this guy called Dan Pringle who made a film called K Shop, and that captures Bournemouth really, really well. It's a kind of a
Mhm.
Brit horror film about a guy who runs a kebab shop, and he gets the worst punters, the worst customers,
Mhm.
and turns them into kebab meat. But I through my mate Rosa, who you fucking know,
Yeah, yeah, I know
Rosa,
her.
of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. Yeah. Did my Celta
She
with her.
introduced me to Pringle, Mr. Pringle, um, and he said the reason why Bournemouth's so fucking shit and will never be like a cool town like Brighton or
Hmm.
Hastings or anywhere like that is because people like Richard Carr and the councillors, they want the clubs to be nasty, sort of
Hmm.
cheesy places, and they don't see a benefit in like having art centres and stuff because they know they can have a quick turnover of weekenders coming to Bournemouth to have the sort of like stag do type things. And why would you want to, take away from that city centre like venues that are allowed licenses are the ones that have the big turnovers, that have the big booze promotions, that pack them in, get them pissed, then turf them at
Yeah, I
two,
think
3 o'clock.
I guess it's with the maybe it's like the problem is that maybe Bournemouth's population
Mm.
is just not big enough to sustain those other like better like kinds of speaking as someone who worked in Toko, by the way. I was a
Oh, did you?
barman. I worked as a
No
barman in
way.
Toko.
So you saw it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, yeah, like on the front line. And so there's not enough like maybe there's just like two or three places at the when we were going out there like places like 60 million and things like that, like
Mm.
let's I don't want to say alternative but just not really like super dirty cheesy
Mm.
nightclubs. There's just no alternatives there, and maybe it is um they
I
can't
just don't
sustain
think
those,
they can sustain like
or maybe
Camden
it's too
started out
tempting.
started out good, and it does occasionally have a night. Look at what happened to the Winchester. That couldn't the landlord, the same old story. Landlord wanted to turn it into flats. Um,
Hmm.
there's no sort of venue protection. I mean, kind of ironic anyway, because it closed probably about a year and a bit before Corona anyway. Um, I can't think of any really alternative spaces. Oh, what did you hear that? Just
I
been
did.
visited. Um, I can't think of any. I can think of a couple of like small places, like Miss Chaplin's. Yeah, Chaplin's
Mhm.
is about
And that's
about
like
the only
that's
place.
really like kind of I'm not going to be rude about chaplains, but yeah, it's like
Go on.
it's
We can edit it.
I'm going to say I know lots of people who go there often, so
Yeah,
it's like it's not like it's it's in not the nicest part of the city,
yeah.
and it's kind of away from lots of other places, so you're kind of
Yeah,
isolated once you're there. Like,
yeah. The garden is amazing, and I miss going there, and I miss the atmosphere because you do meet a lot of rum characters. It's got
it's
everyone from
very. I
Sweden.
mean, it's like if you want to meet like interesting people, you're going to meet them there. I remember when when this whole thing first started, they were like really like they were like we're not closing.
Yeah,
They were like being very very like
yeah,
no, we're not going to
no,
close, and then
no,
they closed. Like it was quite amusing because a guy I used to work with, um I know Chris will know him very well.
yeah,
I won't say his name, but he's a regular there, and his wife works in the health service,
right,
and so he was like, you got to close, guys.
yeah,
And he was there all the time, like
yeah,
because it has really good ales, like it's a good
yeah,
drinkers
yeah.
pub.
It's a proper drinkers pub.
And as you say, the
Um,
garden has like that really like maybe we can try and describe it. It's like a terrace that is like goes up in big. It's hard to explain, but it's really cool in the middle of kind of like
like a
a
magical garden.
yeah, like a magical secret garden,
Yeah,
exactly, filled with like the most strange people.
yeah.
Like,
And if you're not a smoker, then you would become a smoker because everyone is smoking there. And
mhm.
it reminded me of Bristol. It reminded me a bit of a place called the Cadbury. So it's got a really nice garden, and you hardly spend any time inside. You just spend your
I've
whole time
never
in
been
the garden.
inside when I've been there.
No,
Like the times I've been there, I was never inside, always in the garden.
mm,
Like, yeah.
yeah, and I could imagine when things get a bit easier that they might be able to space it out so that that you could have 30 people in the garden, and it would be observing distances. Maybe I don't know how it would work.
I guess they're gonna have that will have to be they have to do that, won't they? I mean, like
Yeah.
they need to I mean, things will have to open,
Mm.
at some point.
Yeah.
Uh, Especially, and I think, like, I was speaking to Roman about this, maybe we had the same conversation that when these things do reopen, people are going to be so hungry.
Mm.
Um, like, the experiences hopefully will be really good, like when concerts start again.
Yeah.
Uh, I know that, I mean, maybe people who watch this maybe in places where there are concerts still happening and nightclubs happening, but
Yeah.
obviously I'm in Istanbul in Turkey, and no, that's not happening.
No, there's nothing here in Spain either. I have seen a couple of gigs like listed that might go ahead. I mean, I think Primavera has still got dates up of when it will
Some of the
happen.
summer festivals are
And
still saying they're happening. Yeah.
yeah, a guy. So did you listen to that guy DJ Python?
Yeah, yeah.
Because in every day on every day, how I can't remember the name of it, on every day like the other, track number one on
Okay, a day like any other.
a day like any other. Sorry, I'm so shit with names. um Reminded me of DJ Python Tekonossi, because there's this noises in the background of like either someone walking or like coming through somewhere. It's kind of just ambient noise. It's like
There
feel
is there is a hang on, I'm trying to think of the track. There's definitely someone walking up the stairs on, but not that track. There's a field recording at the end of that track,
mm,
and I can't remember. Uh, I really can't remember what the recording is. It might just be something random.
mm.
Um, and I realized there's a bass bit that like meow, meow, like that bit is. I was listening. It's like that's the beginning of Death in Venice by Britten. There's
Right.
a bit like this, like he does this weird thing in the opera, and it's like you kind of put that in a weird way, try to recreate that with a synth, which
Mm.
is interesting. I was like, no, yeah, it has like a weird. There's, I was gonna put lots of field recordings on that album, but then I was just like, I'll just do them very, very sparingly, so they have a
Yeah.
little bit more. So you kind of notice them. I don't know. I like this expression where people say like "feel, don't hear."
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I kind of like. My music, I kind of like try and do that. And
Mm.
so I just want there to be like a suggestion of something,
Yeah.
and then you can run with it with your own imagination.
Yeah. Headphone music.
Yeah, it was designed for that. I mean, I've tried to make it so you can play it through a big system as well.
Mm.
This is what like I think I sort of mentioned before, like with ambient music of like I'm gonna say darker ambient music, not
Mm.
dark ambient music.
Yeah.
The the sort of like there is a like people really over the low end. So
Yeah.
sometimes it becomes really aggressive and it's
Mm.
like, and so sometimes that's really great, but
Yeah.
it's also, I find it personally really difficult to mix like well,
Yeah.
like to get the low end really, really right.
Right.
Whether it's like too rumbly, it's too dominant, or, and I mean, I used like presets that are designed to remove those kind of like congestion things. And
Mm.
so try and use technology to like, instead of like, oh yeah, I know that like 56K is the one that's the most annoying for most people, or those kind of things. I'm not really good at doing that. I know like would say like a techno mastering engineer where they know exactly like the kick ranges where they have this, like I'm not, I
Yeah.
can't really do that.
Uh,
um
um, is there any more Chamomile Dawn stuff coming up soon?
well, the thing is, I had like this whole plan
Mm.
to remix loads of the stuff,
Yeah.
like to do like dance floor ready remixes. Then all this stuff happened,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like if I do that,
Yeah.
there's no point, because the whole point was to make remix the first album,
Mm.
so it's play out. She can play the stuff out.
Yeah.
So those are kind of, that's been backburnered.
Yeah.
And then I also had the next project that was supposed to happen. I
Mm.
had this tentatively like themed around Italian football from the 90s.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Okay,
What,
so
from Italian
like
90 or
yeah, and so
yeah.
like all stuff like, so all the vocal samples would be like interviews from uh Gazzetta Football Italia,
Yeah.
like Del Piero
Yeah.
talking and things like that. So that's kind of halfway in done, and it's really nice,
Yeah.
and it has some, and but it's really like, it's just, it would be, I don't know, what do they call it, like bedroom house. It's not something you can really play out.
Mm.
It's just like something to listen to, and um kind of, it's more of a relaxing thing. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll finish that, but I'm not sure. I was just thinking about that this week. Like I started writing some new Chamomile Dawn stuff um after we did kind of like we me and Rob, we did a kind of like an EP that's
Mm.
like sort of weird electro.
Mini
It's really
album.
hard to explain. It's called The Ghosts of Soul in London. It's
Yeah.
really cool, but it's very hard to explain it.
Yeah.
It's like
It's about it's about spies being left in body bags, MI5 spies. That was
yeah,
really
I
cool.
kind of described it as like decadence,
Yeah.
in like it's like a celebration and indictment
Yeah.
of decadence at the same time.
Celebration and revulsion
Yeah,
at the
exactly. So
same
these
time.
mixed things of and musically it's kind of like Pet Shop, or keep mentioning the Pet Shop Boys, kind of uh like drum wise, it's like try to do like Shep Pettibone.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is really different. That's, I mean,
Yeah,
that's an
or
impossible
Bobby
thing.
Bobby O.
Yeah, that didn't do so well. I was thinking like, as I really love Manson, the band,
Yeah.
and they never really they never really got kind of, they're one of those bands that really, they had the ability, but they just never really reached the same heights of their sort of peers for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, like Tanita Tikaram, it's twist on my sobriety.
Twist on my sobriety.
Is that her? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of these like kind of like pop soul singer songwriters.
But
Really,
with quite dark themes, like some of them.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I don't know when like the pop thing, it's just there's that period, isn't there, in music in the 90s when you get grunge and then pop, and it kind of like destroys, like grunge destroys everything in its path.
Yeah.
For a couple of years.
Edit. I should have paused it a couple of times to make it easier for myself.
Okay, it's annoying because the new album is not on streaming at the moment.
Okay.
But they're called Auscultation or Auscultation.
Yeah.
Like AUSCULTATION.
Yeah. Is it dark?
And they have, it's kind. They have the album is called, it's a French. It's L'Entrainte Imaginaire is the album from 2015, but they just released a new album. It's on Bandcamp and stuff, and it got really good review, not good reviews, but it was reviewed in lots of it got really great reviews, and it was reviewed in some big things. Like I think there was a Pitchfork review.
100% Silk, which is a label of quality, definitely. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's I think the album is just called 3.
Yeah.
Is the one that,
this is the one, yeah, on 100% Silk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, they're like, I don't know. I just people should just listen to it. I don't want to try and describe it, but it's like,
It's not fun, and not fun, and I think so. There were a couple of people from Vienna, and one of them was, to find out who it was. I'll put this back in, but this guy did stuff for Not Fun, and he was a master musician, and he made kind of noise stuff as well. It was really good, and he was also really nice and really helpful, and gave me a list of like really good tape labels, and one of them was Baba Vang. Got to find this.
Baba
Vanga, yeah, who were nice enough to listen to our demos, and we almost, well, maybe one day we might be able to do something with them. I need to send them some more stuff. They really like, before people started wanking about deconstructed dance music, before it got a name or a genre, they were interested in doing some stuff. Well, they did do some really interesting releases.
I'm just looking at my band recent purchase, I can tell you.
Yeah.
So there's a Russian guy I've been listening.
Sorry?
Called Item Kaligo.
Item
Kaligo.
Okay.
Really good. I'm going to give you some ambient ones.
Okay.
Really, really nice.
Yeah.
And what's this guy's name? I'm gonna have. Okay, so if I can find it, there's a guy called Kuroi Aim I've been listening to. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl.
Yeah.
But it's like a cyberpunk artist.
Yeah.
And there's an album. What I can do, maybe I can send it to you in the chat. Well, it's an EP, sorry, that hang on. I'm going to start playing it here by accident.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on the label called Villain with a 4.
Okay.
Instead of an A.
Yeah. ping
They're
it.
like basically a cyberpunk label.
Okay, so I can put these links all in.
Okay, it's telling me the band's name is called Understatement.
Okay, cool.
But I'll just ping it to the thing. But
Yeah.
this is hang on, give people some background if they're into like kind of like what's it called? So maybe people will know. I always forget the name of the album. So there's a very famous vaporwave album. Also, whilst I'm looking for that, there's a lo-fi house guy called Ethernet. No, Cult Member.
Oh yeah,
He's
cult
called.
member. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that album, Ethernet. Really
Yeah.
nice. Just really, just well done lo-fi house. Just really well done.
Yeah.
Um,
Just
nothing
go.
like.
Just
Go on,
going.
mate.
Sorry, mate. Just going through some of the people that have bought tapes, the tapes that they make, the effort that they put into doing
It's
their release.
really like a good product.
Fucking artwork is great. There's a guy called Dizcock. And his tape is made up from like blank see-through ones, and each one has been hand painted, and the album artwork looks really fucking great.
Yeah, so that album I sent you,
Yeah.
the one that is in Mandarin, is
Okay.
kind of like, so the album I was trying to think of, which if people are into vaporwave and ambient music, there's a very famous album called Birth of a New Day,
Right.
and it's like kind of, I guess it's like a seminal work in terms of vaporwave. It's kind of post vaporwave,
Okay.
but it has a ridiculous number of sales on Bandcamp. It's like over 10,000.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first big Bandcamp um, albums to really gain loads of traction. But the album I sent you before that is
Yeah.
kind of like, is very similar. If people like this, the 2814 album, 2814 or 20, I don't know, 2814. They're
Yeah.
two people anyway. It's a collaboration between two other vaporwave artists, which is HKE and Telepath.
Yeah.
They just did this album together, which, if you've not listened to it, I don't really need to give it like publicity because it's a really, people love this album, but it's like, it's a gateway album into like cyberpunk vaporwavy stuff.
Right.
It's so good because it's like, I don't know, it's got really, really good like the emotion of the album is really nice. Like the first track, it just so, and it has all the cliches. Like, so it has someone like Japanese train station announcement,
Yeah.
city rain noises, all of like the tropes of that you kind of think, oh no, but they work so well.
So it's like not the prototype, but the
Yeah,
divinity.
well the thing is, man, it is,
Yeah.
because all the albums that do like have like maybe like that like Villain and Pure Life, which are two labels that produce this stuff. Pure Life is from a Manchester label, and
Yeah.
they put out lots of this stuff. Nearly all of the albums they kind of have it like that in their DNA.
Yeah.
Because I think it's one of the first. It's kind of post vaporwave, I would guess, because it doesn't use so many samples of old tracks at all.
Yeah.
So it has a couple of tracks where it's just slowed down, like Japanese music.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is not that. Because
Yeah.
I'm not really an expert on. I'm not like a vaporwave expert, but I know like the pure form it really has to be kind of like it's your 80s library music, slowed down, vocals slowed down. And I've noticed they're complaining now.
Who is the most famous one who made the drug reference? And it's just a loop over and over again. Oh, back in 2000. I want to say not Daniel Loberton. Oh, fuck it. I can't remember. It's not important.
Daniel Lobertan, Echo Jams. It is him, mate.
Because
it's Africa. I'm just looking. I've gone on Wikipedia. It's a sample from Africa,
right?
Toto.
Yeah.
And it's just a loop of that.
Yeah.
And so I think I read something that they're getting a bit like lots of the vaporwave artists now. It's becoming a bit problematic because the technology is getting better at spotting the samples.
Yeah.
And now, like with hip hop, and they're finding people are identifying the obscure samples.
Okay.
And so they're getting like stuff that you wouldn't know that's been sampled that you thought, oh, I've got away with this. You can't get away with it anymore, especially if it's obviously like Toto. I mean,
yeah.
Cool, man.
Okay.
Speak to you soon, dude.
Speak to you soon, man. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.